Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Here we are, Tuesday night again. Hard to believe. Like, you're right, Kelly. I think like when Tuesday, the week before, is over, then I think, okay, I have all this time to get all this stuff done. And then all of a sudden it's Tuesday.
Well, for me, the panic sets in on Sunday, because on Sunday morning, I realize, oh my gosh, there's only a couple of more days until knit chat. And then I start to panic thinking, how much can I get knit done or knit today? And we'll get into it later, but I got no knitting done this weekend. So we'll talk about that later. But anyway, yeah. So the panic sets in and I'm like, I'll have nothing done. But I do have a finish tonight. So I'm pretty week 3 and I finally have a finish. So there we go. Anyway, also the weather has arrived. Yes.
The welcome everybody. We're glad that you're here joining us. We see there was lots of people in the chat here earlier. Kelly, usually I'll go through the chat, but Kelly and I were chatting, so I really didn't have time to go through and see, but thank you so much for joining us. We enjoy Tuesday evenings and and we did have hot weather today.
We did.
It's like it goes from cold to hot.
With no warming up period, like nothing to get us used to it. It just went from cold and now today it was 30 degrees today. So that's pretty toasty.
Yeah.
And it's not humid yet, but I will say it felt pretty warm.
It's starting to get humid. It's starting to get humid more so than yesterday. I know we had last weekend was Father's Day weekend. So we had everybody here on. So when we're just my immediate family is together, that's 19 people. So we had 19 people here on Saturday. We did it Saturday so that all the individual families could spend their Father's Day together. And my one son was running a race on Sunday morning. So we went and watched him, but everybody was here. It was still a little chilly, but we were in the backyard, but the girls were all in the pool. They doesn't matter. It doesn't seem like they have a temperature control when it comes to swimming. They don't care how cold it is. They were in the pool.
Well, our next door neighbors were in their pool last week when it was cold. And I thought, oh my gosh, what are they tthinking? But today I was thinking their pool looked pretty good.
Well, our pool's heated too. But then if the water's warm,
you still have to get out. You have to get out.
Yeah. Well, I know the kids are out like this shivering, right?
Yeah.
But anyway,
Miles has been enjoying his pool in Chilliwack. They had some really warm weather last weekend as well, but then it's cooled off this week again. So I don't think he's been in the pool in the last couple of days.
Well, we're supposed to have our first heat wave here starting on Monday, so it's supposed to get even hotter.
Yeah, the day we leave, of course. But that's okay because we're headed east and there's no heat wave on the East Coast. I will assure you of that.
So far, it's probably headed that way.
I don't know. In all of the years that I lived in Nova Scotia,
I know, but I think
we never had a heat wave.
Temperature in general, everywhere, is changing.
I don't know. The last time I was home, which was 8 years ago, we were there in August and the weather was warm for them. It was 80 degrees, which is nothing for us here in Ontario. And they thought it was a heat wave. Everybody, it was like first conversation that you got when you went to see anybody. They're like, oh my gosh, the heat, it's so hot. And every store was sold out of fans and it was craziness.
Well, that's like when we went to Ireland a few years ago and it was about 80 and they all thought it was like dreadful. I'm like, oh, this is just nice.
Yeah, I know, right? Emily's in here and she said that they were camping at Cultus Lake, which is not too far from Chilliwack where my daughter lives. Actually, Emily, they were set to go camping that weekend and Kendall just decided, you know what, we may not get too many of these beautiful weekends. So they canceled the camping and they stayed home and had a staycation because the weather was so nice at home. They went, so then they went camping. Or they're going they went midweek, I think. That's what they did because they had the week off. So, yeah. So hopefully you're enjoying the weather wherever you are. I know that I had a message from someone earlier and they were saying in Texas it's over 100 degrees. So we're not quite that warm yet. They can keep it.
I'm like, that's at least today was still nice enough.
Yes.
And not so warm. I could still sit outside and knit. Like sometimes when it gets too hot or too humid, it's a little hard to sit out there and knit, but today was fine for that. So could just stay like that and that would be good.
And for my first time this year, I actually sat out on the back patio too for about 45 minutes and had a little bit of a crafty morning too. So that it just felt amazing. You know, I can hear the fish pond, the gurgling. Oh, did I remember to feed the fish today? Okay, that's a job for after the podcast, I guess. Anyway, so the fish pond was going. I had a couple of squirrel friends to visit, and yeah, it was just lovely. The birds in the trees, and very, very nice.
Yeah, and today was the first day that I went and actually did an outside bike ride. But even then, I had to go like early so that it wasn't too hot. But
right. Oh, and Denise says it's been 114 degrees Fahrenheit
okay,
in
you
Vegas.
can have that, Denise. You can have that.
Denise, that's hot. That's smoking hot.
Yeah.
Smoking hot.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, so we should maybe get started. So did you
We're
have
a knitting podcast. Did we tell you that?
Oh yeah, we forgot
podcast.
to tell you that. We are a knitting podcast. We do talk
mostly
about
knitting.
We're not just weather. We're not just weather.
Yeah, if you tuned in, we are not the weather girls. We may pretend to be, but we are not the weather girls.
Yeah, and I've been watching a few podcasts from like Australia, New Zealand, and like they're getting all ready for the winter.
Oh, yes.
And so, and they were knitting wintry things. And I said before we started kind of into this warmer weather that I really wasn't going to knit a whole lot of summer things. Well, that changed.
So, you cast on all the summer things?
I cast on all the summer things.
Oh.
So
I will just tell you, I do not get as much joy from knitting summer projects as I do from knitting winter projects.
I have been with the ones that I've been knitting.
Have you? Okay.
That I've been using. Yes.
I mean, I enjoy it,
surprisingly.
But yeah.
I just usually I don't. But
I get more ramped up about the winter knits. I don't know why. I do. And I mean, I wear my summer knits all summer, but I just
they're shorter to knit because you don't have to do long sleeves.
Well, I know, but it's usually on smaller needles too, right?
Well,
because we're knitting with thinner yarns. So
I know, but
it's a trade-off. It's a trade.
I like small needle knitting. So
yes.
Okay. So did you have any questions?
I had a clarification from somebody commented on the podcast last week when we were talking about the waist shaping for the sweaters. I had said, and I knew in my head what I meant, but I guess it wasn't clear on the podcast. We had a comment, somebody mentioned, because I referred to the waist shaping. I said, oh, it's kind of like darts and sewing. And then we had a comment that said, well, traditionally darts and sewing wouldn't be to make the at the hip, they would be, bust darts, or the darts in sewing might be at the front or the back of the sweater. And yes, I know that. But what I actually meant was just how in sewing we use a dart to create shaping in a garment. And I should have been clearer on that, because I don't want, anybody out there to start running out thinking that we put darts in our hips. Because it's a garment you might, but that's not actually what I meant. So
like there is a lot of patterns now that do have bust dart shaping though, which is very
absolutely yes, in knitting as well.
Sewing pattern. Yeah. So okay, so I had a question about a cable needle. So that's a cable needle for using when you're doing socks. So something that's like a tiny circumference needle, like I know I use a 2.25, and I do have one. I cannot remember for the life of me where I got it. I measured it, I put it in my needle holder, and it does measure at 2.5. So even though I do my socks on a 2.25, it works fine. The 2.5 works fine. Now I tried to do a little bit of research on where to get some, and ones that I did find that had one that goes down that small is Coco Knits.
Okay, so of course they would. They have all the gadgets.
Down, to a 2.5 millimeter. Mine is not. I know mine is not a Coco Knits. I think it was like a Clover, or what were some of the other, Susan Bates or something like that. I mean, mine's really old. But it's hard because when you go in and you type in cable needle, it gives you all the interchangeables and not necessarily just the needle to do cables on. So
there's a couple of other little gadgets too. There's that one that's like a little flexi. It's like a flexi flip, but it's just like a pattern in the soft part of the cord. Julia probably has one of those 2.25s. Julia has every gadget known to knitters, so she may have something. And if she does, I'm sure she'll chime in here with some resources for us.
Okay, and Tracy says she uses a double-pointed toothpick. So that might be a good idea. And I know that the viewer that was talking about it said she uses a DPN, but because it's long, it's kind of cumbersome. Like it is nicer to have kind of like the little short needle. And Helen, the floops, and I think the floops.
That's what Julia said.
I don't know what size they go down to. Like I could find places that sold cable needles, but none of them went down to less than like a 3 millimeter around.
Okay.
So it was finding the ones that actually went down to a 2.5 or a 2.25 millimeter. So
Okay. And yeah, I'm
like Coco Knits did for
trying.
sure.
Yes, I have one as well, but I know it's not that small, and I rarely use it. Usually I do the cables without the needles. I just pull the
Well,
stitches off,
socks are pretty
rearrange
much
them.
the only thing that I do use a cable needle for, because I find that the stitches are so small, and especially in a superwash yarn, they tend to be a little bit more slippery. So
Yes. I do know that I once lost, I was knitting on a plane and I was doing something with a cable needle. And when I wasn't using it, I had my hair all piled up on the top of my head and I just stuck it up in my bun. A few minutes later, I'm looking for it. I couldn't find the thing anywhere. Felt like, people are going to think, what is that woman doing? I kept, doing this in my hair. I could not find it. I found it after we landed, but I had to go without the cable
well,
needle for the rest of
even
the flight.
sitting on my couch, I'm like, I just did a cable row and then I need it. Where does it go? I swear.
Those little
Just,
wristbands are pretty handy for something
I know,
like
but
that
the
with the
one that I
metal.
have is not, it must be aluminum or something, because it won't stick to
Okay.
the band.
Julia says Wet Coast Wools in BC has
Okay.
flutes in stock, and I know that they do ship internationally as well. How small do they
Yeah,
go,
I don't know
Julia?
how
Do you
small
know?
they go.
Sure, we'll get an answer.
Okay, Cindy says she uses a paper clip.
Paper clip bent in the shape of a
So,
cable needle. Oh, and hubby smooth the edges. Good
yes.
tip. Good
Yep.
tip.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, I'll have to get Ross on that.
Well, that's actually what I use for my blocking rods. I went to Princess Auto, which is I don't know if everybody has a Princess Auto. I don't think so. Might be a Canadian thing, but it's sort of a mishmash. It's like a man's den of surplus things that a man might need. And I bought the big tube of the welding rods, and that's actually what Mike did. He just rounded off the edges for me.
Yeah.
Okay, and this just in, the Fiber
Okay.
Nook in Calgary,
So 2.25. So good to
2.25
know.
millimeter. So
Yeah.
there we go. Thank you, Julia.
Or 2.5.
Or 2.5. Okay. But I like that paperclip idea too. That's a great one, Cindy.
Yep. Okay. The next question I had was actually from our friend Lean, who we met in Montreal. Yeah.
I'm there. I feel vindicated. I'm not alone. Sarah's lost cable needles in her bun too.
Yeah. So
okay.
So this is our friend Lean that we met in Montreal, and she's doing a sweater and she had a question about it. So I'll just pop a picture up here. So she's saying that where she's got that little marker there, that it seemed like there's like a ridge or it bunches up. And she was wondering if it's because she should have either used a bigger needle or maybe it should have more stitches. Now, the first thing that I did ask her, and I just was responding to this today. I asked her if she's blocked it yet. I wouldn't try anything else on the sweater until she's blocked it.
Absolutely.
I believe that the yarn that she was using is Pasquale Soul, which I believe Julia just used, and it is a cotton yarn. Well, cotton does give a lot when you block it.
Yeah.
So because she was wondering if she could rip out, she knit top down. I wouldn't even start to think about anything like that until you've actually blocked the sweater. Because sometimes it's amazing the difference that blocking can make. I don't know if anybody else has
and she's saying no, she hasn't blocked it yet. So block it.
That's the first thing to do, is to block that sweater, and then let us know after you block it, and then we can go from there. But
we will reconvene.
That's right. If you're knitting top down, Julia, it has to be 90 and 10, not 90 and 20. Julia was saying that the sole is 90% cotton, 20% cashmere, but I'm pretty sure she means 10.
It must be 110% dreamy then.
It's 100%, 10% yarn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, the blocking, especially in a round yoke sweater, because it is amazing sometimes how things open up. Mm-hmm. That pattern does look like it's got a little bit of texture in it. So even texture will open up, because if you're knitting top down, it's a lot harder to go back, cut yarn off, and then go back up. I mean, it can be done, but it's not as easy as when you're cutting off and going in the same direction. Mm-hmm. So, and that's right, Leanne. If you have extra fiber somewhere, you want it to be in the cashmere department.
That's right. Nobody would say no to an extra 10%.
No, that's
extra 10% of cashmere.
That's right. Okay, so last week we were also talking a little bit about Craftsy and how Craftsy has a whole bunch of things on it. like not just knitting, there's crocheting, there's cooking, there's woodwork, there's painting. And then someone else said there's also a program called Skillshare.
Yes.
I've not ever looked at it. I don't know if it has knitting. I believe it has a lot of other things. I don't know. Does anybody know? Does it have knitting on it as well?
I'm not sure if it has knitting on it. I think it might because they actually sent us an email, Noelle.
Oh, did they?
So maybe we should look into it. Yes.
Anyway, I know I've been enjoying the Craftsy this week and just putting on some little tutorials. I was watching Zandy Peters tutorials about stacked knitting. It was really cool. I think I might have to try that.
Okay.
So,
that's great.
Yeah. So if if you're interested in different things, and as far as the Craftsy one, there was a lot of good basic knitting like classes on there, like showing you like basic cast-ons. There was one on brioche. There was one on color work and how to do two-handed color work. And I believe that I know that Leanne, the Knitty Stew, I know on her podcast, she does have a link. And you can actually get a whole year of Craftsy. I think it was for not very much, a couple of dollars maybe. And that way you can try it out and see if you like it. And so, but I find it's nice because I can even stream it up to my TV and watch it on like big TV.
Yes. And
really
I think
see those stitches.
Yeah. And you can save it too, right? Like you can create a library, I think, with it.
That I haven't tried that yet.
Okay.
So I don't know.
So that you can go back to episodes and they're constantly adding new content
New
as
things
well.
to it. Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah. And then the next question was about a baby blanket. And I believe it was the Chevron baby blanket by Espace Tricot. And they wanted to do it, but in a yarn that was washable and still snuggly and cozy. And immediately what comes to mind is the Barocco vintage, because it is a worsted weight yarn. There is also, though, the Estelle worsted, which is pretty much the same composition as the Barocco yarn. And depending on where you are, one or the other might be easier to get. They both come in a beautiful array of colors, and it's easily washed and dried. And it does feel very nice. Like both Kelly and I have used it for a lot of kids' knits. So, and then the very last question that I had was about the alternating cable bind off, which I can't remember. We had put it on before.
I thought we labeled
it's what
that
I use all the time. It's what I use all the time now. But the question was, do you go down a needle size when you do it or up a needle size to make sure the bind off is stretchy? Because that one is done where you have to bring your yarn around the back of the needle, I always use a double point. So if my double point's there and it's 3.5, I use that 3.5 to cast off, whether it's 3.25, 3.75. But again, you've got to know your own knitting, right? If you find you're really tight, then I'd go up.
Would you use that for the top of a sock too? Is it stretchy enough for the top of a sock?
I don't do that. I don't do that many sock. No, if I was going to, I certainly wouldn't use a 3.5. If I was doing it for sock, I'd use something closer to the size of the sock.
No, I'm just saying that bind off. Is it stretchy enough for the top of a sock?
Yeah. I've used Lori's Twisty bind off, which is very similar for the top of the sock. So I think, the thing with that bind off when you're doing it, it's really easy to rip out. It's not like the sewn bind off that's really hard to get apart. So try with your same size needle and then like pull it and see if you think it's giving you enough stretch. And if it's not, it's easy enough to rip out and go back and do it with a bigger needle. So you don't have to do a whole big section of it to know whether or not it's going to work for you.
Okay. Also this in from Candace. Candace says Uptown Worsted.
Okay.
And who's that? Where's that from, Candace? Which yarn company?
Is it Universal?
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. Or Rico or something like that. But she's saying that it's 100% acrylic. It's anti-pill and very swishy or squishy, maybe. I don't know.
Anyway.
But probably great for children's knits.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. You definitely want, especially a blanket. You don't have to worry. Don't want to have to worry about blocking it and laying it all out to dry. And Janice says, yes, it's universal.
Yes, universal. Thanks, Janice. Okay. Something else we haven't checked out.
Okay, that's it for questions.
Okay.
So, okay, moving on. What are you wearing?
Wow. It's lovely of you to ask. I am wearing I have a banner, the Magna Flora by Eliza Hartzell. And I made this one, I think, last summer using Drop Spell. And I do have a couple of photos here. So it's a crop sweater. It's very lacy and it was super quick knit. going back to this one is a super quick summer knit. And I'm trying to remember, I will look in just a second. I've got one more picture to show of the lace panel. The lace was really easily memorized, and there's not even really sleeves to speak of. You just sort of do an extra couple of rows and then you bind off in that rolled edge hem. But like the sleeves don't roll up. Once I blocked it down, they have stayed in place. I've been really happy with it. And it's the perfect kind of sweater if you want to, well, a couple of things about it. So you can see actually in this photo, the lace is high enough on the bodice so that if you are just wanting to wear it over top of pants, it's not so low that you have to worry about, because the lace is quite open, but it's a modest lace that it's high enough placed on the bodice. But if you do want to highlight something that you're wearing underneath it, then it really shows through the color as well. And today I have it on, I have a sundress on underneath, and it's like an orangey, a rust orange color. So it does really show through the lace. And let me just look at it. I made a size 3 and I used 3.2 skeins of the Santa's Garnleen, not the Belle, sorry. Okay. And it was color Slate 6080, which I purchased at the Knitting Loft. So again, 3.2 skeins, very economical sweater. And if I wanted to wear it with jeans, I probably just would have made it a little bit longer.
Well, and you could have still would have
absolutely could have. I had 0.8 of a skein of yarn that I could have kept going on it, but I was probably anxious to be finished a sweater, you know, so I could show it off for Knit Chat on a certain week. So I said, that's long enough for me.
Anyway, it's nice. I like that pattern. So, okay. And I am wearing the Kindred Crop by Brianna Arlene. And I do have a picture. There we go. So this one is done in the Knitting Loft Cardi, which is a blend of 50% merino, 50% hemp. And the colors that I used were plum is the main color. And then the contrast color is Summer Love. And I used less than 2 skeins of the plum and less than 3/4 of a skein of the Summer Love. So the Cardi is a DK weight yarn. There is 260 yards in 100 grams. It's fine for inside today in air conditioning. It would have been a little bit warm for this outside with the merino content in it. I really enjoyed the knit. The yoke is so much fun to knit. I think I did it a little bit different. I believe that she had the main color up here. And then what I also changed was, I'm just going to pull it up here, was this part right here, because in her design, it went straight all the way across. And I just kind of liked the ripple effect.
You do not like a yoke that ends in a straight
line. I
don't
like it when it just goes straight across. I don't know why. I just don't. So I changed it. And then that mirrors what's down at, I don't know, I can't show you. Let me bring the picture back and see if it shows on the picture. I'll take the name off here. Yeah, so you can see on the bottom, the band that goes around the bottom is that same ripple. So it kind of mirrors that when you do it up at the top. So, but really, really fun to knit. I do really like this yarn. It's easy to wear. I've got a toasted tee made out of this as well. And I find for when it's about like 22, 23, it's good. But in the middle of summer, when the humidity gets up there, then, I mean, even Drops Bell, I find, is almost too warm then. So, but it was a very enjoyable knit. And she's also got a version of this in a lightweight, I think, called the Kindred Light. So, okay. So moving on. You said you had to finish.
I do.
I have 3 finishes.
Okay, you're going to start the finish section then.
Okay. Well, we know that last week was Father's Day, and last week I had finished 1 sock, and I had to get Ross's socks finished for Father's Day, even though I know he wasn't going to be wearing them, but still I wanted to have them done. So I did get them done. So the socks that I did were the basic sock with integrated heel by Albina McLaughlin. And here are my 2 socks. Sorry, they're both done. And I've got one right side out and one inside out. So because I discovered when I was doing the Finchley graph that it actually looked nice both ways. So this way here is with the reverse stocking stitch on the outside, but the little cable design that I put in here really stands out more on this side. And then this one is done, that shows that you can't see the cable as much this way because it's kind of an inverted cable, but you can probably see the heel a little bit better here. So the heel is actually stocking stitch, and it's incorporated into the gusset. So there's no point where you go back and forth to do a heel flap and then have to go back and pick up stitches. So the only time you actually do any purl stitches is when you're turning the heel of the sock. The rest of this gusset is incorporated right in, like you're creating stitches on both sides and widening it out. And then you basically bring it back to shape when you do the heel turn. So it was a really neat construction. And now he still hasn't worn them yet, so I can't comment to.
We can't get a report on how he likes them.
Can't get a report on how the heel fits yet, but I enjoyed making it, not having to go along and pick up the stitches. The pattern does come in, what was it again? It was fingering weight, sport weight, and DK weight. Okay. And it does go like from a youth up to like an adult male. So there was quite good coverage in the pattern as far as sizes and yarns that you would use. Yeah. This yarn is Timber Yarns Twin Sock Marl, and this is the Highlander Marled colorway. So I really, really do like the colorway on this. Yeah, so they were fun to knit, and I could see trying some more of them and maybe doing a shorter sock. I might do a shorter one, ankle sock, for myself, and then I can wear it and see what it feels like.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that sounds good.
But yeah, but it was fun pattern to knit.
Nice. Kay is asking, is there a minimum number of gusset increase stitches? How many needed in reference to the ankle circumference?
I can't remember if that was in the pattern or not.
Okay.
So, but I'm looking at it like it gives you more room than if you did an afterthought heel or a short row heel. So it basically gives you the same as you would get if you do a heel flap and gusset. So, and she also, when you do this, she also gives you a little trick and technique when you turn the heel, like to make sure that there's no little holes or anything in where the heel turn meets the rest of the sock. So,
okay, good.
But there's probably no reason that you couldn't. There's probably no reason that you couldn't extend that, like increase more stitches. All that would happen is you would decrease them when you do that heel turn.
Okay.
So.
Okay. So Elizabeth says that the pattern that she used has the following for a small.
Okay, that's for a traditional.
For a traditional heel flap.
Heel flap and gusset because you're picking up the stitches. But there's nothing to say on that. Like if you want to pick up more stitches, what's going to happen is you just need to knit that heel flap longer.
A little bit longer. Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
And you still can, like I know that sometimes with 18 and you've got that slip stitch along the side, you can still, like you can kind of pick up an extra stitch before you start along those slip stitches. You can pick up an extra stitch kind of in that gap, and that will give you a couple more stitches to work into your gusset so that you get more room across that ankle of that sock. So, okay.
All right. Oh, me. Okay. So, I have not been able to knit this weekend. So I've been struggling again with my wrist, but I am pursuing a new treatment for it that I'm optimistic is working. And so I was able to pick up some crochet this weekend, and I got a new yarn, and I don't even think I declared this under acquisitions a while back. So yeah. But anyway, it is something new that came out at Wool Warehouse. It's a new base that they're carrying. It's the Yarn Smiths Cotton DK. And I have to say, this is some of the softest cotton yarn I've ever used. So I do have one skein left here in the shade Warm Taupe, and it is 100% cotton, but this is not your dishcloth cotton. This is it's very soft, and my camera's not focusing. Well, fun. Okay, so Anyway, trust me when I tell you, it's very, very soft. So I had ordered, I just wanted to try it. It's also very economical. I did get this on sale. I literally think it was $1.50 a ball. It's a 50-gram ball. So I was pretty happy about that too. And I cast on a market bag, and I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce this name. There it is on the screen.
I'm not even going to try.
No, I'm not going to try it. I'm sure I will get it wrong, but it's a free pattern. If you go to her blog, which she has a link for on Ravelry, or if you want the actual printed pattern, you can get that on Ravelry for a small fee. So I'll just show you the bag. Now I did modify it, but I'll show you. Look at this. How cool is
that's
this?
Pretty.
It's really pretty. And so it's got these like fun handles. So this is the part that I modified. It actually came in you would have used this material or this color to do these handles, and you would basically do a shell stitch back and forth to create the handles. I didn't particularly care for that style of a handle. It made the handle quite thick. Also, I didn't have another skein of this color. This used every little tidbit of my 4 skeins. So
were they 50 grams or
50 grams?
50 grams.
Yes.
Okay.
And I actually don't even have 2 matching handles. One has a strip of green and black, and the other one has a strip of black and gray, because that's what I had left, and I don't care.
Well, you wouldn't even know if you
no. But it's really nice. It's a great little bag. So and being that it's cotton, this is the kind of thing you can throw in the washer and dryer, so you can use it to carry some yarny projects in, or actually take it to a market. I'm definitely going to take it with me on our trip. I think it'll be great to just have as a thing to throw things in. And it does look like a bathing suit top. That's what I was thinking when I was making it. I thought, oh, look, now I'm thinking I could make, some kind of a tank top.
Okay. You'd have to line it.
I would have to line it. But no, if you wanted to wear it as a top, see, okay. Let me just take that banner down, because those little gray spots are not hitting in the right place. There we go. So you could do something like this as the shape of a top. And I don't want to give the pattern away, even though it is free, but let me just tell you, it's very, very beginner friendly. And I used a 3.5 millimeter hook for this. And like I said, I don't know. I just did something here. I don't even really know what I did. I just created a way to bind the handles on in a way that I thought looked okay. And it's really a fun pattern to do. And this didn't hurt my hands at all to work with, and not from the point of view of the wrist. I'm talking about sometimes when we're working with a cotton yarn, we say, oh, it's kind of hard on our hands, because there's no give to it. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But this being so soft is really quite nice to work with. And they have not a huge selection of colors, but they had enough colors that I could happily come up with like a color theme that I sort of liked. And this goes with a lot of things that I wear in the summer. So I know that it's going to be something that I use. So,
was that all that you got of it, or did you get more?
No, that's all I got of it. I just wanted to try it. And now I'm thinking, gee, I wish I'd gotten more, because it's really nice. So I have one lone skein, because I couldn't tell from the website if I was going to want this color or this color. And you can see this one is just a little pinkier.
Darker. Yeah.
And I couldn't quite tell. And I wasn't sure from the website. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes, but I am pretty happy with these colors. And so 4 skeins will get you a lovely market bag. So that's my finish. Yeah. And did that just over like a couple of days too. It's pretty quick.
Okay. My next finish is my ranch, my rules socks. So these are just a pattern that I made up, but it's self-striping yarn from Scrumptious Pearl Stripe Me Up.
Yes.
And the color is called My Ranch, My Rules. So this is just a pattern that I made up. It just looks like cables all the way down. So the cable is 3 stitches, but you just cross 1 stitch over 2 every 8th round. And then in between, there's like a purl stitch. So when I did this, I
excuse me while I have a hot flash, everybody. You just go right ahead. Woo! Go ahead.
I did this because I wanted to have something to knit, because it seemed like all the socks that I were knitting were really complicated. I wanted to have something to take to the coffee shop. So I did these, and then I got a little bit bored with them and I put them aside. And I was actually, I think, down to this. I had passed the keel on the one, and that's all I had left. And I thought, you know what, I just need to finish these. Well, then I realized why I put them down, because I was probably maybe about here. And what I do when I do something like this, I'd like to have it mirrored so that there's a purl stitch starting off the instep, a purl stitch over here. Well, what I forgot to do was add that purl stitch. And I thought, there is no way I am ripping all that back to go back and put that purl stitch in. So what I did was I dropped down. I was about here. I dropped down all the way back to where I had my marker in for the sock. And then I just reversed one of the stitches and made it a purl stitch up to, so that I continue, which means I had one stitch less in this part of the sole of my sock.
Whatever works.
I'm like, there's no way I'm ripping all that out. But anyway, so now they match and I'm happy with it. I actually just did increase another stitch so that when I got to the toe, it would be the same as the other toe. But yeah, so I'm happy with how they turned out. I really like the Scrumptious Squirrel sock yarn. And then this little heel is Yarn Indulgences. And it's an older yarn. I don't think she carries it anymore. And it does have some cashmere in it. So I will make sure that I hand wash these. And I still have, I think, like over 30 grams left of this. So enough to maybe make Oliver a little pair of self-striping sock yarn, or self-striping socks, because it's a pretty neutral color. So
I did the same thing on the socks that I'm knitting, Nancy Wheeler's socks. I noticed that I had missed a purl and I had knitted it all the way down. So I think I had about 17 rows, and I thought, no, I can't abide. I know it needs to be there. So I took it out and
so you ripped it out
through. No. I just took out one stitch.
Took out one stitch,
and then I could purl up. Yeah. So,
but was it an extra stitch that you had to put in, or was it?
No, I had converted one inadvertently. Once I got past the heel, it should have stayed a purl, and I turned it into, or maybe it was the other way around. It should have gone back to a purl after, I don't know. I did something, but I remember I did the same thing.
Well, I should have added a stitch, and I did. And I thought, I'm not. And as long as it looks the same, and it looks the same. And then I think what I had to do is I had to down here, because that would have been this much, and it would alter the striping sequence. So when I got down, I think I had to do one extra row down here before I started the toe, so that so that these would still line up with the toes. But it all worked out, and they're good. So And when I was talking about what?
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, when I was talking about the leftovers and doing socks for Oliver, Leanne had asked about a pattern for size 6 to 12 months for kids.
Okay.
So for kids socks, I know that I think that we've said before that the Everyday Sock by Andrea Mowry goes right down to babies, and it's a toe-up sock. Fits them really well because it's 2x2 rib, and it kind of stretches to their feet. And the other one I use,
especially because some of those baby feet can be pretty chubby.
I know. And I know I use Tabitha Gandy's newborn socks, and I just increase. I think hers called for 32 stitches. I think I've just used that pattern, but I've just sized it up and done 36 stitches and 40 stitches. And 40 stitches probably fits about 12 months.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Okay.
Someone
was asking too what the yarn was again. This is yarn that I got at Wool Warehouse. So it is I don't know why it's not focusing. Sorry. It's Yarn Smith, cotton DK. And so they have this on sale regularly. I don't know what it would be like to do a garment in this. I mean, I don't see why you couldn't. It's definitely like, it's a wearable soft cotton.
You can check on Ravelry and see if anybody's done any.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, I think it's a fairly new yarn for Yarnsmith. So,
did you wash or block the bag?
I did block it. Like barely blocked it. I threw a couple of towels in it just to give the base, because it's not a flat.
But you didn't wet it.
No, I didn't wet it. So I just
like I probably wanted to do that before I decided whether I was going to do a sweater with it or not.
But
Like just to see if it
yes,
stretches
for
out
sure.
or.
Because I mean, when we're thinking about the Bell or the Santa's garn, that has a little bit of linen in it, right? And this one doesn't. This is just straight cotton. So.
And the viscose too in the other, because I think the Bell is only like 53% cotton. So
yes.
But anyway, and before I do have another finish, but before we go on, before we forget, do you have your Riptide tee there?
I do.
Because we should show them, because it is going to be released tomorrow.
Yes. Mine's not finished, but
no.
Yes.
Okay, so we both test knit the Riptide tee for Jennifer Shields Toland. The pattern is going to be released tomorrow, and we know that you had asked us before, and we had a discussion about when it was going to be released, and we didn't know, but it is going to be released tomorrow. So this is the Riptide tee, and as of tomorrow, it won't be a test knit anymore. It'll be available.
The real deal.
Yeah, it'll be available. So here is my version. And mine is done in Durarum Natura Antigone in the Dahlia colorway. And again, we've talked about it. I won't talk too much about it, but we've talked about it in the past, how the finishing is so nice because it's done as you knit the tee. So there's no going back afterwards and having to pick up for the neckband or having to pick up for the sleeves. It's actually done as you do the tee. And then she's also got this really nice detail down at the bottom. So you get this little lace trim on it. So we'll be posting finished photos and things tomorrow. And so if you think that you might want to do these, that is when it's going to be available. And again, we said before, the V-neck on it is a really modest V-neck. It's not something that you feel like you're going to bend over and everything's going to fall out. But anyway.
Well, make sure you wear a bra. Then things don't go falling out.
No, but still, I still don't want it gaping down, even if you've got a bra on.
And then I knit mine in the Queensland dungaree, which is a recycled 95% cotton. I don't have the label with me. Sorry, friends. But anyway, mine is like an indigo blue. And it is exactly where you saw it last week, because as I said, I haven't been able to knit this week. And I was so excited. I thought, oh, I'm on track. I'll finish that. I don't have that much more to go. I think I have about 7 inches to go, which I could certainly pull out in a week. And I thought, oh, I'll actually be finished before the test knit is over. And sadly, no. But I'm very excited for this. I think I'm going to wear this a lot. I really like the color too. And it's really beautiful. Such a good pattern.
It is a good pattern.
I mean, there has not been a single thing of Jen's that I've knit that I haven't said that about, where I'm like, such a well-written pattern, such beautiful finishes. And it doesn't matter if we're talking about like a sweater, it could be a hat. It's even her little fingerless gloves that I've knit, her scarves, everything. She's very, very detailed in her patterns.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you,
and it's those little details that make
absolutely
make the finished product look professional. So, and those they're all included in the pattern, and all you got to do is follow it. So it's
So Joy is asking if there's actually an option in the pattern to knit short sleeves. There is not an option in the pattern, just because of the design of the sweater. It is like there's not really a sleeve to speak of. So you're casting on more, because once you place this on your shoulder, this overhang actually becomes a little bit of a cap sleeve. So, I mean, I guess, no, I'm not even going to say that. I was going to say you could pick up stitches, but then you wouldn't have this. I would just say no. There's no option for that.
You would have to increase your shoulder so that you got more of a hang, and then it would be more to grasp together under here.
Yeah, because the entire pattern is written, and this is integrated. This beautiful piece on the side is integrated with each row. You're not going back and adding anything. So,
No.
Okay.
Okay, so my last finished object is the Clover Tee by Lynette, who is Lean Home Samso. Here we go.
Very nice. I like that color.
It's all finished. This is Drops Bell, and this is the colorway Petrol. It does fit. I haven't blocked it yet. I haven't gotten pictures or anything yet. It's been off for a while, but it's just been busy. So
I find with that yarn, I don't block those sweaters.
No, I don't think it really needs to be.
Because when you wash it, you're going to throw it in the washing machine and then in the dryer with that yarn. So I never blocked any of my knits that I did in the Bell or the Lean.
No. So this was done on a 4mm needle for the body of the sweater, which is the drops bell. And I usually get on the 4mm needle about 21 stitches for 4 inches. I did the neckband with a 3mm needle because I wanted the neckband not to stretch out. But when I got to the cuffs of the sleeves and the bottom down here of the hem, I just went down to a 3.5mm needle because I didn't want them to cinch in too much. The one modification that I did make was down the side. I added 2 purl stitches just so you would have this faux seam going down the side. And I find sometimes with cotton yarn that helps to eliminate spiraling in case the yarn will do a little bit of spiraling. So, and it also gives you a nice point when you are blocking it to kind of like where to fold it over rather than just everything all in the round. So this was I think I have about 11 grams left of a 50-gram ball. So it was like almost 5 balls of the drops bell. And yeah, I'm really happy with it. Really like the color. I've really enjoyed knitting with the bell this summer. I don't know why. Like I do not find, even though it's 53% cotton, I do not find it hard on my hands to knit with. I find it's a very soft yarn with.
Yes.
And yeah, and I love the fact that the finished product, that even if it does stretch out a little bit, you can just throw it in the dryer and kind of get it to go back into shape. So
Isabel's asking what we use for heat when we dry those garments in the dryer. I use a medium heat and I don't do anything special. Oh, well, I shouldn't say I don't do anything special. Here's what I do because I actually just washed my toasted tea again this weekend. I put it in a little, like a little garment bag. And I want the garment bag to be a little tight on the sweater, I guess. Like I don't want a big bag because I don't want it to be able to twist or spread out too much in my washing machine. And I just wash it with all the rest of my laundry. So it's just in this little bag and I leave it in the bag when I throw it in my dryer on medium heat. And then I take it out of the dryer. I just give it a really good shake and it looks just like, it's perfectly fine. Yeah. Now, that's not my dryer. So
I still
have to test your own dryer.
I still hand wash mine, let them mostly dry, and then just kind of put them in for a few minutes at the end to kind of fluff them up and just reshape them a bit. So, because my washing machine, I have found I have not had good luck sometimes, because sometimes I would put something in a garment bag just to wring all the water out of it, and not so much with a cotton, but with wool, I have had things shrink just by putting them in and just spinning, like no heat, nothing, but just spinning. So I won't do that anymore. I just roll them in the towels and stand on them and lay them out. So
is yours a top load or a front load?
It's a front load.
Yeah, mine's a top.
So when I used to have my top load, I keep telling Ross I want a top load washer.
Okay, well here's the thing, Noelle, the top loads aren't the way the old top loads were anymore. The top load now, it's just like a front load, but it's standing on its side because it's not like my old top load. It's different. So
my old Kenmore top load lasted for 30 years. And that was
your next
30 years with 5 kids.
Yes, I know. So much more laundry, right?
Anyway, but yeah, so happy with that. So yeah. Okay. So do you have any whips?
I just have, well, the one you just saw that I didn't work on, and I have 2 others that I barely worked on, but what do you have?
I have 3. So I'm working on my socks for Christmas 2025, and it's June, and I'm actually working on June.
Okay, there you go.
And I got one finished. So let me just stick it on the blocker here. There we go.
I like that pattern.
I really like this pattern. So this is let me see if I can find a picture of, here we go. So this is the Athos, and this is a pattern by Kaua Coffee, because I'm doing all Kaua Coffee patterns for Christmas this year. She has amazing designs, or I don't know. The designer has amazing designs, and they are all free. So they've done a lot of designs for Sock Madness. So a lot of them are quite intricate. This one is actually probably one of the easier ones, but you do kind of have to follow, because it is I think the row repeat is a 16 stitch row repeat, and basically almost every row changes. So I did this one in Barocco Vintage Sock. This is the colorway
Fennel.
That's right. So, and this is a man's sock. So it is 70 stitches around, and it is because the way the design goes, it kind of cinches in a little bit. So it's a lot of rows of knitting to get to the,
I
like
bet.
we're going to do the heel and then a lot of rows down here. Again, she kind of integrates the heel pattern into the sock. It basically mimics the rib design, which is at the top, which is not just a knit two, purl two rib. Like she's got a little bit of a design that kind of flows into the body of the sock.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that's one done. So this is only the 17th. So I still have 13 more days to get June's done. Of course, my mini socks have fallen way behind.
Yes, Dorothy was just asking about that.
Was she?
Yes.
They are, you know what? Ross was asking me about that. I'm like, what? I can't even have a week without someone going. Have you done those yet? Anyway, they will get done. They will get done. Christmas in July.
Yes. Yes. We're going to talk about that tonight
that'll
too.
Be the
Yes.
mini sock. That'll be
Yes.
the mini socks.
Yes.
Anyway, once I get into doing them, they're fun, but I've been casting on things and really enjoying some of the other things that I'm knitting. So they just kind of got set to the side, but
that's fine. Fine.
So they will get done.
Yes.
Okay.
I did knit. Well, this was before I got too sore, but I did actually knit a couple of pattern repeats in, I don't think I had these done last week or like that. I think I did a couple of pattern repeats in the Mountain's Edge socks. These are the ones by, got to move my chicken butt marker out of the way there from Carrie. These are the ones from Nancy Wheeler of Knit Sit Pappy. And this is using Deborah's beautiful yarn from Yarn Indulgences. And it's the bamboo sock. I love the color. I got the first one finished. This is my second one. And I put my little Carrie's little marker that she gave us there because every time I get around to the front of the row, I chuckle when I see that. So I like watching that. And the yarn is so pretty. And it's just pretty. Amazing how beautifully variegated it is. It's just really subtle, but so pretty. But yeah. So I am anxious to get these done. Not that I'll be wearing them anytime soon in this weather, but you know, it's nice to have socks ready to go for fall.
Well, I don't know. You said it was going to be cold out east. You might have some cool nights out there.
Oh, I'm packing all the warm things. Don't you worry about it. Yes, absolutely. I know how cool it can be out there in the summer. I am packing warm things. Okay,
so my next work in progress is my fern tee. So this is a pattern by Knitting for Olive, who is Pernell Larson. And I am knitting it with yarn that I got when I was in Copenhagen at the Knitting for Olive store. So the color that I picked was this.
Blood orange. So beautiful.
So this is, I've got it to the point now where I have actually split for the sleeves.
This is a slow go for you, isn't it?
This is slow because this is on a 3mm needle. I believe it's a 25 stitch gauge, but it's coming. I don't mind it. This is still just my first 50-gram ball. So the yarn comes in 50-gram balls, but I think there's like 250 meters or 250 yards or something in a 50-gram ball. It is 100% pure silk. And I'm really like, I know some people have said that they didn't like the feel of it or knitting with it. I'm actually really like knitting with it. And I think now that I've got it to the point where I have split for the sleeves, it's going to go a little bit faster because I've got fewer stitches around. But like before I split for the sleeves, there's a lot of stitches around there in this pattern. And I spent probably 45 minutes or more this afternoon fixing, because like when you're doing this, you really got to be aware. It's a very simple pattern, but it's like if you just are off by one stitch, then it throws the whole pattern off. So for a couple of things, I was a little off. So I had to go back, slip down 4 rows on every repeat, and then redo the yarn overs and the knit togethers, slip, slip, knit. So, and I'd only done it on about, I think it's 11 stitch pattern repeat. I think I'd only done it on about 5 of the repeats, but man, it took a while to go back and fix that. But anyway, it's all fixed. It's back on track. So I suggest if you do this, like I said, only 1 row is pattern and the other 3 rows are just plain knitting rows. After you do that 1 row, it's probably a good idea to check that you got everything lined up before you go on to the others. It'll save you a lot of grief in the end. But yeah, so I am really enjoying it. This actually, I could take a knit at the coffee shop because, like I said, there's only one row where you're really watching,
Okay.
and then the other rows are all just knit. So now it's down to like just knit in the round. So yeah, and I do like that color.
Very nice. I just want to go back to this comment. Sarah,
sorry.
Sarah has been working away quietly in the background, and she just finished twisting the fringe.
Wow.
And I know how hard that is on a new woven blanket made entirely from her hand spun.
That's
Is pretty amazing. Congratulations, Sarah. I can't wait to see it. Yes. Hopefully you're coming on Saturday. It's going to be my last Saturday for a whole month of seeing everybody. So hopefully you come. And also I wanted to show this comment. Crystal, who is in Nova Scotia, said it was 8 degrees last night. So see, I might need those socks.
Yeah, well, last week it was 8 degrees here, but
I know, right?
So
yes.
Okay, so do you have any other whips?
Yes. Which again, so totally thought this was going to be at least a hoe. Seriously. This sock again, it's still not finished, but actually I'll pop it on a blocker because now that I'm up into the rib at the top of the socks, these are toe up. This is the hang on.
Toe up twisting trails sock.
Nope, twisting trails toe. I know, I can't get it right. Twisting trails. It's a tongue twister of a twisting trails toe up socks by Four City Knits, and I did it. I did mine a little bit differently. Well, mostly because I messed up, but then I'm calling it a win. So, in the original pattern, she has the toe and the heel is the contrast color, and I didn't want the heel to be my contrast, so I'm putting my contrast up top. She really can't see. I seriously thought this would be done, friends. This is kind of silly now. It's dragging on for this long, but you can see how pretty it's going to be with the that contrast at the top and the bottom of the sock. And I love this beautiful pattern that's down, and it's on both sides of the sock too. It's a really fun pattern, and like I said, it's very potato chippy, but not in that I can knit and not look at it. I have to look at it to see where to put the twist. But once you've memorized the pattern.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good pattern.
And these will be pretty, and these will be summery, pretty socks. So hopefully I get that wrist wrangled in and I can get back onto the sock knitting train because, you know, those cold camping days in Nova Scotia, I might need just such a pair of socks. And at least these look like summer socks, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so my last whip is the Julienne T by Lynn Knit. Again, Lean Home Sam. So I seem to be picking a lot of her patterns. Let's see if I have a picture of it. Here we go. So it's top down, but it's a little bit different. It's like a set-in sleeve look, striped tee. So I think I showed yarn. I showed the yarn last week that I was thinking of doing it in. And here we are. So I've got this one again to the point where I've got the separated for the sleeves, and now I just have to knit down, and then you go back afterwards and you pick up the stitches around the neck. So it was a really, really interesting construction. I'd not ever done anything like this before.
It almost like it mimics a set-in sleeve, right?
It does. It does.
Yeah,
so you do start with the shoulders, but then the way you go across, like even when you get to here, like you're back in where you're actually like knitting it all the way across. So you kind of are picking up stitches across the shoulder. It's hard to explain, but it really went together quite easily. And I'm really liking the color combination. So my main color is the Drop Spell in the colorway Almond Rose. And then my contrast color is Sand and Scarn, but this is the Tin Lena, so I'm holding it double. And this color is called Bright Lime. But it's not going to take a whole lot of this. But I'm really liking how the two colors look together. So it still looks muted, but that lime just gives it like a little bit of a pop. So when I pick up the neck, I'm still going to do just the cast off with the lime. So you just get that tiny bit of lime around the top of the neck. I'll probably do it at the sleeves, but probably not at the bottom of the tee. Yeah. So again, this is on a 4mm needle, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. And it's like just it's funny because I thought when I looked at the pattern that the stripes were 2-row stripes, but they're actually not. They're just 1-row stripes. So
And
she
it's funny
actually
on
does it.
camera, it almost looks like you've got a different color on either side of that lime stripe. It's
Yeah,
really
that's
weird to
it's just the
see.
way that,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just the way the camera's picking it up.
Yep.
It's yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what she does though, when you're at the first, you're going back and forth. So what she does, so that you don't have to continually cut all your yarns, you actually slide the stitches back across the needle.
Nice.
So that you don't have a whole bunch of ends where you've just knit 1 row across and then you have to go back to the other color. So yeah, so she kind of does that ingenious. And the only thing that I did different when it got down to the underarm, where she has you divide for the sleeve, was almost right at where the stripe was. And the way she does it, okay, let me see if I can explain it. The way she does it, you switch the end of the round. Like the end of the round is, first of all, when you're doing a round, is like at your shoulder. But then when you get into doing the body of it, she switches it so that it's under the, like right in the middle of the underarm. Yep. So, but the way she did it, you would end with one and then you would start casting on with the new color. And I thought, oh, but I want all the cast-ons to be in the same color. So I just cast everything on in the one color, and then I slipped the stitches back, and then I started with the lime color, so that the whole row would be the lime color instead of missing out those last stitches on the lime color, because I really thought all of the cast-on should be in the same color. But
I wonder if it would be the same for every size. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, no. It might be different in the different sizes. Yeah.
Yeah. But in my size, that's how it worked out. So I just did that. And I mean, then once I pick it up, you'll still be able to see the whole stripe all the way across instead of just one half of the underarm having the stripe. So yeah, so really, really enjoying that too. So, and I really want to cast on more things too.
I'm just looking at this comment here. Monica told Sarah that she has a new gadget. It's
a battery
operated fringe twister. Sarah says she has dents in her thumbs from that. I'm telling you, I've only done it one time for a blanket. It was a fingering weight blanket. And I got such a dent in my thumb that I actually got nerve damage from it. And for
the twister?
Yeah, from the clamp.
I have caught my thumb in that clamp.
Ouch.
So let me tell you, that hurts.
For an entire month, the end of my thumb tip had a tingle in it for an entire month. So, and actually, I think even the last third of the blanket, I was getting Mike to do the clamps because he's got, those stronger millwright hands. And I just obviously have weak little thumbs. So.
Yeah. Anita, after the stripes, for the 1 row stripe, I cut it, but I just carry the main color because the stripe sequence is like 9 rows and then 1 row. So I'm not going to carry it down. I'm not going to carry the other yarn down for 9 rows. So yeah, so you do with every lime stripe, you do have 2 ends to sew in the beginning and the end of it. But I also find that helps to kind of join it out so that the stripe looks more seamless. So.
And Linda had made a comment too that she got a new sock set. I think it's similar to the one I have. It's called Lavender Lemonade, but the main looks like the main color that I have, but the mini is a lavender.
That would be pretty.
And then Leanne commented, this sounds like it would be the perfect
I know, I saw that
pattern. For Nancy's new pattern, Froze shorties. And I want to make those ones too. I think they look so good. Such a good pattern.
I almost cast those on, but I thought, no, you got to get something first. So. Okay. So do you have any more whips?
No.
Do you have any planned cast-ons?
Well, I'm hot into figuring out what I want to take on the trip with me. So we all know that I'm going to anticipate I can do so much more than I'll actually be able to do. But I want to take firstly, I want to finish the Riptide sweater. That's a goal. I'll take both of those socks, but I want to cast new socks on. I also, I will be taking this book with me because in July, we are going to host a quick little 1 month. So get ready for it. It's just a quickie little 1 month, and it's a Christmas in July make-along. So I'm going to be taking this book with me, which is the Amigurumi Crochet Gnomes. And I have enough to do 2 little gnomes. So also very ambitious. I'll be lucky if I get one done, but I want to bring this along with me. And because this is fun little, small project knitting, and because it's just a small little lightweight book, I'm going to just pop this in a bag. Also going with me will be my English paper piecing for my quilt.
Okay.
So I'm going to bring that along because I can do some nice little hand stitching anywhere. So I'm packing up supplies for that. And then I still want to bring something for at least a new sweater, maybe 2. Not that I will get any or all of this done, I am aware, but a girl has to have options. And I do have lots of yarn cupboards, but I will also be stopping along the way because there are some yarn stores that I want to check out and some outings that I want to have with some friends along the way that are yarny related or fiber related. So I'm sure that I will come home with more than I am leaving with. So how about you? What are you thinking of casting on?
Well, I'm not thinking, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do it. I am going to cast on this week. Let me just find it. The Stromboli by Caitlin Hunter.
Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah, I really like it. So there's her picture of it. And there are a couple of versions done on Ravelry in the Sonder Yarns Fleece and Flax.
Yes.
Yes. So I am going to cast it on in this color.
Oh, that's going to be great.
This is the wake up call. And yeah, it's bottom up. So, but I think I've done a couple of hers bottom up before. But yeah, I think it's going to look nice. And I think it looks like it's cable-y, but there's really a lot of lace stitches in it. So
I think so too. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a nice design for, like, again, not in the heat of the summer, but in the evenings or. So I'm really looking forward to casting.
That's some of the yarn that I was thinking of bringing with me as well, is the fleece and flax. I really want to do something in that. Yes.
Yes. Yep. So I want to cast that on. I want to get another pair of socks on too. That's I don't know, something fun and colorful. So I've been racking my brain. I've looked at different patterns. I just couldn't decide on something yet. So I want to do that as well. So that's the immediate plans.
Okay. So Diane says that she sailed past the actual volcano Stromboli about 3 weeks ago. That's very cool too.
Yep. So
I think really, Diane, you should cast that sweater on. Just saying.
That would be.
Oops. Where did I do here? Okay. Also, okay, Mary Ruth is asking, will Nightmare Before Christmas knits count in July?
Sure.
Anything
Christmas.
Absolutely.
And it can be what you're knitting for Christmas. It could be Christmas themed.
Yes.
Cast on that Christmas sock yarn.
Yes.
So, okay. So did you buy anything this week?
I did not.
Okay. Well, last week I had talked about the book that I had purchased on Amazon. So I did stick a little blurb in here about it, but this is what the book looks like. So I actually didn't get the book. I actually got a Kindle version of the book because the book is no longer in print. So this is called Fair Isle Style. There are
I love that sweater on the front. How fun is that?
There are 20 designs in the book. It says Mary Jane Mucklestone, but the book is just put together by Mary Jane Mucklestone, or that's her pattern. I can't remember which, but there is all different designers in here. There's Isolde Teague, there's Nancy Bush, there's Mary Jane Mucklestone, there's Nora Gone, there's Gudrun Johnson, and various others. I think each pattern might be by a different designer. And then the one thing that I really liked from it that I wanted to knit was this dress. So this is called the Bresse dress by Gudrun Johnson. Now I would not leave the sleeves. I don't like the sleeves. I would not do that poofy thing at the sleeves. I would do a full length sleeve, probably just a little bit poofy, not very poofy, and then like a tight cuff on it.
I actually like those sleeves.
I don't like the sleeves.
No, I
don't. Well, I think that if I'm going to wear a knitted dress, it's probably going to be in the winter. It's not going to be in the summer. So I would prefer to have long sleeves.
Yeah, but I just feel like the way she's got it styled with the T underneath is pretty clever too.
Yeah.
So And Diane says that she's actually that Diane.
Okay, there
She's
you
done
go.
the pattern on the front cover as well. She said it is fabulous. I love those patch pockets. I don't know.
Yeah,
Are
me
they?
too.
Yes,
Yes,
I was going to say
yeah,
they are knitted. They're not
yeah.
embroidered on,
No,
right?
they're knitted.
Looks very
And
nice.
then one other one that was in the book is this one here. So this is called the Farrah Raglan, and it's by Courtney Kelly. And it's like all over Farrah, but it's done in like a top down Raglan style.
Yeah,
So you
yeah, it's
actually carry
really
the
nice.
pattern through the sleeve. So I really like that too. And that's what there was lots of other patterns in it that I like too. Like there's hats, there's what else was there? Oh, like leg warmer things. There was like really cute like kids booty slippers. There was like an actual bird that you could knit, like a toy bird. There was hand warmers, socks, shawls. So lots of different things in it. And like I think on Amazon I paid just a little over $5. So for the Kindle version. So like
Great
you can't
deal.
beat
Yes.
that. And I would have loved to have had the book if you could get the book, but the book's not in print. So
Yeah, yeah.
couldn't get it. So and then I also ordered
And then
this is another book. This book I did order and actually got the book. So this is called Traditional Danish Sweaters. And this is a book that I saw when I was in Denmark. And we actually had a workshop with Vivian Hawksborough, and this is her book. So in the book, there is like 200 stars and other classic motifs from historic sweaters. So it goes through like that. Well, I really like the one on the front. Like it's just
that's a
kind of
very
like
quilty looking knit. Yes.
yeah, but it's just like it's got all the detail just in the texture of the stitch, and then it's got the split hem down at the side. There's quite a few sweaters like that in the book, as well as all the stitch motifs that you could put into sweaters or socks or
Nice.
so
Very
anyway,
nice.
I just really like that. So I picked that up this week. And then the other thing that I got was not or I just want to show this is something that Ross got for Father's Day.
Oh,
So
Jacqueline.
this is Jacqueline's work again. So this is two little turtles, like the dad turtle and the child turtle sitting on top of the dad. I'm twisting
So cute.
And then she also made me these these are little possum stitch markers.
Oh, those are adorable.
So it's just got hard to see. It's got the little face and his little tail wrapped around, and it's not focusing.
No.
Anyway, I'll have to take some pictures of them to see
Okay.
if they focus. But yeah, really cute. They're so tiny, and they're possums. They're going on the raft.
Yeah, they're going on the raft.
Anyway,
I've got my little possums here behind me. There.
Yeah. So I didn't get any yarn, just patterns. Even though I was tempted.
Okay, so there's things here. Diane also knit the sweater on the front of the book too. It's called the
this one?
Merry Dancers.
Oh, the Merry Dancers, yes.
Yes, and she made hers in Shetland DK.
Yep.
And Leanne said she made the mushroom Kelly Muffs fingerless mitts.
They are really cute. I actually was going to put a picture of those in because I thought Natalie would just like go nuts over them.
Yeah. And Gail is asking, have you knit from the Kindle patterns before? How is or was it? And I'm assuming you're going to put those into Knit Companion.
It's harder to do that with a Kindle book, so I'm not sure. I might have to take a picture of the chart and then put that into. But I think I've knit from Kindle patterns before, and I would rather have like a PDF version that I can put into.
Yeah.
But there was no choice because the book's not available, and the book I don't believe was available as a PDF version.
Okay.
Right.
Victoria does say that there are lots of copies of that book on eBay.
Oh, on eBay. Okay.
And Isabel is saying that the book is free if you're subscribed to Kindle Unlimited. So
yeah. So
very good.
Yeah. So I mean, and I think it was published like back in 2012. So like, even though it was back in 2012, like a lot of those designs are kind of timeless designs that are not. Yeah. So.
Well, the Fair Isle, the striped Fair Isle one that you showed, I think that's like I would say that's a very modern take on a traditional Fair Isle pattern. I really like that one. That's a great pattern.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So that's it for this week. We should probably remind people about Knit-alongs.
Yes, I'll pull that up.
Because we are halfway through June.
We
More than
are.
halfway.
We are. I know, more than halfway. We are 2/3 through almost.
Yep. So we've got our year-long sock make-along going on. So all you have to do for that is finish your socks. Doesn't matter. You could have started them 30 years ago. If you finish them now, you can put them in there for the sock make-along. So at the end of every month, we draw 2 prizes. One is a pattern prize by our friend
Natalie of Remembrances _ Natalie Sheldon.
Okay, so it's Remembrances first.
Yes.
Okay, I'll remember that.
Remember to put Remembrances first.
That to the next time. So Remembrances _ Natalie Sheldon, and we're so send so much love to Natalie for doing this because she's got beautiful patterns. I've knit quite a few of them, and they are fun to knit, and yeah, showstoppers for sure.
Yes.
And then we usually have a sock yarn prize as well. Our goal is to get to 5,000 pairs of socks by the end of 2025, and we are well on the way.
We are. So. We are for sure. And then the other one that we have running until the end of June. So I'll be leaving the prizes with Noelle because we'll be announcing those while I'm away. And it's called All About the Condiments. And that is where you knit whatever you like, but you add a condiment to it. And it can be a mohair, it can be a suri alpaca, it can be sequins, make it tweed, anything else that you add into your knit. And the rules are that if it was already started by April, it had to be less than 50% complete, and that the project itself has to be a minimum 50 grams of yarn, and that can be including your condiment. So have fun with that. We are winding that up. There's a lot of great projects in there already. So congratulations to those who've already finished. And then I will modify the slide here because as of July, we will be adding our Christmas in July that we talked about. So yeah, and we have some fun Christmas themed prizes for that as well.
Yep. So, okay. So I think that's it. I think I can go sit outside.
You probably can. Yes, you probably can.
Well, this is the perfect time of year because this is for us here. Well, coming up to June 20th is like our longest day of the year. So it's the best time to sit outside till past my bedtime. It'll be like past my bedtime. So
yes,
that was one thing that was different when we were in Scandinavia, because over there back in April and the beginning of May, it was already staying light for a long time. So, but anyway, so
Darcy said that she managed to watch the live while hubby was driving. I'm sure he was thrilled. Darcy must have been absolutely thrilled to listen to this riveting conversation while he drove. And Kay says that she has done 14 pairs to date. So congratulations.
Congratulations,
I'm assuming. Congratulations. That's awesome. That is great progress.
So
okay. Andrea got another sock entered last week.
I know there's lots of.
Yes, Karen is saying
safe travels. Ours.
No, we don't. But even though I'm traveling, the intention is that I'm still going to be able to podcast from all of the places that we travel. So get ready for some East Coast content and podcasting on the fly. Don't know where I'll be each week. I have an itinerary, but I didn't pay attention to where the dates corresponded with a Tuesday. So I don't know where I'll be, but anyway, I will be seeing all of you from there, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you leave Monday, so the first, you must know where you're going to be the first Tuesday.
I do know where I'll be. I will still be in Ontario. Yes, on that Tuesday. We are actually just outside of Cornwall on the first 2 days, because that day on Tuesday, we're actually going to Upper Canada Village. So I may see some old timey knitting things there that maybe I'll get some pictures of and that we can talk about next Tuesday. So, yeah.
Okay. So we thank you again for joining us, and thank you for everybody who comes back after and watches after. We're happy to have you here. We enjoy doing this every week. It's so nice to connect with everybody. And yeah, and we wish again that this could be a real coffee shop with everybody sitting in it all together.
I know. Actually, I just also wanted to say, if you have won a prize in the recent weeks, I haven't gotten things shipped out yet, but before I leave this week, I am packaging everything up now, and everything will be all caught up and shipped out. So don't despair. Your prize is coming. It just got a little chaotic the last few weeks for me, but we're all good. We're back on solid ground. So, okay.
Okay. So take care, everybody. Have an amazing week, and we will see you next week. Happy knitting.